Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful land of enchantment, which is also known as New Mexico. And today's date is Wednesday, October 26, 2016. Yeah, like I said, decided to do a second episode on the same day. It's just had to really get that out of the way of the whole Mauer 7 case, which is the Oregon standoff. Very interesting indeed. And yeah, recently just right now I just watched the 13th, which is a Netflix documentary about slavery and incarcerations and how that all continued hand in hand. And there's a lot of great input in there on how they get one group of individuals all these little laws along the way after the 13th Amendment, after the end of slavery, but it still affects folks today, even with the African American communities, because they're easy targets, and so and they even went on the war on drugs and all that, and they started using certain names or racial slurs to like criminals, animals, and so forth. The segregation movement, and it's a lot of it is overall a good documentary. Of course, there are like areas in there how lobbyist groups like ALEC, for example, they use ALEC pass certain law or legislating bills, referendums. I do have to disagree with stand your ground on Trayvon Martin because according to the case, Zimmerman never made a motion. He stood his ground because he was on his back when that horrific event occurred. Just to lay those facts down. And the Tampa Bay Times, if you look up Tampa Bay Times and stand your ground, it does say it in there. So, and that's why you got to look at that, even though they said Alec was behind it. But you have to make sure you always got to be accurate on information. That's how I look at things and share this with everyone out there, regardless what your views are. It's just all in good faith. But thereafter, if you got a Netflix account, check it out, see it. It is really good, and how things can be better because always look at the mind control aspect of trying to have us all divided, and of course how the police are being more aggressive on arresting people, throwing them in prisons with the whole CCA, the private prison firms, and it all adds up. But everyone, like I said, check it out. You won't be disappointed. And observe responsibly and share with others. Have a great discussion. Doesn't matter what you look like. I always like to have an honorable discussion with all you beautiful individuals out there to hear my show. Even if I see me on the street, doesn't matter what you look like. Is when we talk to one another, have an honorable discussion, be articulate as great individuals that we are. We can really clog the system. One thing that gets me was the whole plea bargaining. And they made one good point. If everyone starts going for the trial, you'll clog the system, but they like to put that fear in you and go, if you don't, we'll make a harder penalty. And that's the fact. This is why folks out there got to start using the internet, doing your research, and share this information. That's one thing about the InfoWars all about. They want us at each other's throats so they can conquer among us. And now, based on some surveys, 6% of the people, according to some certain polls, that they only trust the government, have confidence in them. 6%. And when you think about that, that's a good thing because even like I said, we have to study history. It doesn't matter if folks like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, old slaves, but one of the areas they talk about is you never trust the government. So you have to look at everything across the board. and even too with self-defense. I always tell folks out there, and I put on my past episodes and my footnotes on No Guns for Negroes by the JPFO. Great documentary, and I recommend people see that too. But the whole thing is this: they want to lock up many people as possible, and it's wrong. And the good thing about it is, overall, it is a good documentary. Check it out, 13th on Netflix, and just say observe responsibly. Yes, and interesting thing here too. I was like looking around. I'm not going to be reading it, but I did post it on my Facebook, Twitter accounts on a total cost of election 2016 could reach $6.6 billion CRP request, and was really fascinating about this. It's called the Year of the Billionaire. I'm not going to read it, but I want to tell you about some of the ways here. Like talking about it's historic in so many ways. Candidates and news outlets have decried an outsized influence on a small number of donors throughout the election season. Here's a starting statistic. Top 100 families have given about 11.9% of the total $5.5 billion raised at this point, compared to 5.6% in all of 2013. And check this out. It's like you got like top 10 donors, all right? And everyone believes George Soros is on top. Well, he's actually ranked 9. Okay, which his Soros fund management is a total of 17,600,000. Actually, no, hold on here. Wow, yeah, 17,689,038. Okay, the top. I'll give you the top 3. All right, Thomas and Catherine Steyer, which is FAR LLC. $57,271,342. And here's another one, Sheldon and Miriam Edelson, or SANS, $47,342,600. And remember, Sheldon Edelson, okay, he threw in money for the go no on Amendment 2 on the medical marijuana. Okay, this is the second time he's doing this, just to let you guys know what's happening here. And Donald Sussman from Truth Asset Management, $34,459,000. And we can just go Michael Bloomberg, who's ranked 7th. Okay, Bloomberg LP, $20,145,178. Just to give you those statistics, it is totally insane. They're like really just trying to throw money at these people's throats. It tells you about the Trump historical lows and Bush money train. I did post it on Facebook and Twitter, so folks can check that out. I want to try to do it on Google Plus, so I'll see what I can do on that. But definitely, folks, it's really interesting. So OpenSecrets.org is a good website, not for profit. Support them and send this information out. So definitely, I'm gonna actually make it post that on it as a long article. So I'm gonna actually just check it out on my Facebook page or Twitter. I just posted on there. All right, so now we're gonna be talking on a few topics here, and we're gonna be discussing Project Hemisphere. Okay, and this is from Ray Bannister. He wrote from what's it, Free Thought Project? No, Daily Sheeple. Yeah, Daily Sheeple. And it says here, AT&T secret spy program unveiled. Project Hemisphere. It says here, Project Hemisphere is a secretive program developed by AT&T. Searches trillions of call records in order to analyze cell phone data, spying on the activity of private individuals in order to identify who they are speaking with and why, as well as GPS trackings on the location of each individual connected to the call, and it transmits this information to the Department of Justice. In 2013, Project Hemisphere was shown in a PowerPoint presentation produced by the Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, New York Times reported that this has a partnership between AT&T and T and the DOJ, primarily deployed for Drug Enforcement Task Force. All information collected in this program is accessible to the federal agencies authorized by the DOJ. AT&T specifically developed and marketed this product for use by the DOJ, which would promise hundreds of millions in funds on behalf of taxpayers, using taxpayers' own money to spy on their every move. This is an invasion of privacy without a warrant. This is a federal spy program by proxy working through corporations. Hey, can we say RICO, RICO? If I'm with the government, I'm exempt. Exactly. AT&T promised law enforcement that it will not disclose Project Hemisphere involvement in active investigations that are made in public. AT&T is attempting to lower liability for the customer and limit scrutiny to information transmitted to federal agencies throughout their network. While it should not be surprising that your cell phone company is working with bureaucrats to collect incriminating evidence on you. There's a staggering number of people who still carelessly use their cell phone as if the information being transmitted through the device will be kept private. Newsflash, it's never been private. They've always wanted to use your information as a product to sell you to the highest bidder. Your data is their product, and you are paying them to take it from you. Yeah, I want my money spent on being incriminated. Ain't it great? All hail to corporate America. Absolutely. This is totally blasphemous. There's nothing new whatsoever. There are times I'm on the phone talking to somebody. I'll just start screaming and yelling at the person, not towards them directly, but to anyone that's eavesdropping on my phone lines. And they go, "What's that all about?" I go, "Oh, it's the Patriot Act." And they just make people start laughing. So I start cursing at the phone lines to see if they're listening to it. It got fun. I always start driving these clowns crazy. And so, but like I said, they want to destroy our privacy. But like I always tell people, there's always a flaw in these old high gadgets. It's time to use them. And it's interesting because this originally came from the Daily Beast. All right, it came out yesterday by Kenneth Lip. And of course, AT&T is spying on Americans for profit. New documents reveal. And it says, hold the phone. The telecom giant is doing the NSA-style work for law enforcement without a warrant and earning millions of dollars a year from taxpayers. All hail to corporatism. Benito Mussolini will be extremely proud. Absolutely. On November 11, 2013, Victorville, California, sheriff's deputies and a coroner responded to a motorcyclist report of human remains outside of town. They identified the partially bleached skull of a child and later discovered the remains of the McStay family, who has been missing for the past 3 years. Joseph 40, his wife Summer 43, Gianni 4, and Joseph Jr. 3 have been bulged on to death and buried in shallow graves in the desert. Investigators on suspected Chris Merritt in the family's disappearance, interviewed him days after they went missing. Merritt was McStay's business partner and the last person known to see him alive. Merritt has also borrowed $30,000 from McStay to cover a gambling debt. A mutual business partner told police none of it was enough to make an arrest. Even after the gravesite was discovered and McStay's DNA was found inside Merritt's vehicle, police were far from pinning the quadruple homicide on him until they turned to Project Hemisphere. Hemisphere is a secretive program run by AT&T that searches trillions of call records and analyzes cellular data to determine where a target is located, with whom he speaks, and potentially why. Merritt was in a position to access the cellular tower northeast of McStay's family gravesite on February 6, 2010, 2 days after the family disappeared. An affidavit for his girlfriend's call records reports Hemisphere's finding is a PDF format. It's like a 3-page search warrant on here. Merritt was arrested and almost a year to the day after the McStay's family's remains were discovered, as awaiting trial for the murders. In 2013, Hemisphere was revealed by the New York Times and described only within a PowerPoint presentation made by the Drug Enforcement Administration. The Times described it as a partnership between the AT&T and the U.S. government. The Justice Department said it was essential and prudently deployed counter-narcotics tool. The war on drugs, right? However, AT&T's own documentation, reported here by the Daily Beast for the first time, shows Hemisphere was used far beyond the war on drugs to include everything from investigations of homicide to Medicaid fraud. So they want to sell you something that is it's good, but this is always the flip side, right? Hemisphere isn't a partnership, but rather a product AT&T developed and marketed and sold at cost of millions of dollars per year to taxpayers. No warrant is required to make sure of the use of the company's massive trove of data. According to AT&T documents, only a promise from law enforcement not to disclose Hemisphere if an investigation using it becomes public. These new revelations come as the company seeks to acquire Time Warner in the face of vocal opposition, saying the deal would be bad for consumers. Donald Trump told supporters over the weekend he would kill the acquisition if he's elected president. Hillary Clinton has urged regulators to scrutinize the deal. While telecommunications are legally obligated to hand over records, AT&T appears to have gone much further to make the enterprise profitable. According to ACU technology policy analyst Christopher Sohian, the companies have to give this data to law enforcement upon request if they have it. AT&T doesn't have to data mine its database to help more police come with new numbers to investigate, Zagoin says. AT&T has a unique power to extract information from its metadata because it retains so much of it. The company owns more than three-quarters of U.S. landline switches and the second largest share of nation's wireless infrastructures and cell phone towers, behind Verizon. AT&T retains its cell tower data going back to July 2008, longer than other providers. Verizon holds a record for a year and Sprint for 18 months, according to 2011 retention schedule obtained by the Daily Beast. Disclosure of Hemisphere was not the first time AT&T has been caught working with law enforcement above and beyond what the law requires. Oh, yeah. That is totally insane. And let me see here. It goes a little bit further, right? Oh, yeah. It does. I'm just looking. Just, let me see. Let me check something out here because I don't know if it's. Yeah, I'm just checking on a few things. Hopefully I didn't goof up. Okay. Let me just Yep, boom, boom, boom. And continue on here. Well, telecommunications. Well, okay, I got that. Law requires. All right. Yeah, sometimes special cooperation with the government to conduct surveillance dates back to at least 2003 when AT&T ordered technician Mark Klein to help the National Security Agency install a bug directly into its main San Francisco Internet Exchange point 641A. The company invented a program language to mine its own records for surveillance and in 2007 came under fire for handing these mined records over the FBI. The same year Hemisphere was born. By 2013 it was deployed to 3 DEA high intensity traffic area, intensity drug trafficking area, or HIDTA, or HIDD HIDTA investigative report centers, according to the Times today. Hemispheres is used in at least 28 of these intelligence centers across the country. Documents show the centers are staffed by federal agents as well as local law enforcement. One center is, sorry about that, is the Los Angeles Regional Criminal Information Clearinghouse, where Merritt's number was sent for an analyst. Analysis is done by AT&T employees on behalf of law enforcement clients through these intelligence centers, but performed at another location in the area. At one point, does law enforcement directly access AT&T data? A statement of work from 2014 shows that how hush-hush AT&T wants to keep Hemisphere. Government agencies agrees not to use the data as evidence in any judicial or administrative proceedings unless there is no available and admissible probative evidence, it says. But those charged with the crime are entitled to know the evidence against them come trial. Adam Schwartz, staff attorney for activist group Electronic Frontier Foundation, said that means AT&T may leave investigators no choice but to construct a false investigative narrative to hide how they use Hemisphere if they plan to prosecute anyone. Only AT&T provides a lead through Hemisphere, then investigators use routine police work, like getting a court order for a wiretap or following a suspect around, to provide the same evidence for the purpose of prosecution. This is known as a parallel construction. The document here is striking. Schwartz told the Daily Beast, I've seen documents produced by the government regarding Hemisphere, but this is the first time I've seen an AT&T document which requires parallel construction in a service to government. It's very troubling and not the way law enforcement should work in this country. The federal government reimburses municipalities for the expense of Hemisphere through the same grant programs that is blamed for police militarization by paying for military gear like Bearcat vehicles. Hooray for the war on terror. Woo! At a minimum, there is a very serious question whether they should be doing it without a warrant. A benefit to the parallel construction is they never have to face that cubicle. Then the judge, the defendant, general public, the media, and elected officials never know that AT&T and police across America funded by the White House are using the world's largest metadata database to surveil people, Schwartz said. The EFF, American Civil Liberties Union, Electronic Privacy Information Center, all expressed concern that surveillance using Hemisphere is unconstitutionally invasive and have sought more information on the program with little success. The EFF is currently awaiting a judge's ruling on its Freedom of Information Act suit against the Department of Justice for Hemisphere documentation. AT&T spokesperson Fletcher Cook told the Daily Beast via an email that there is no special database and that only additional service AT&T provides for Atlanta's intelligence center is dedicated personnel to speed up requests. Like other communication companies, if a government agency seeks customer call records through a subpoena court order or other mandatory legal process, we are required by law to provide this non-content information, such as the phone number and the date and time of calls, AT&T statement said. Shokorian said AT&T's being misleading. They say only cooperate with law enforcement as required, and frankly, that's offensive when they are mining the data of millions of innocent people and really building business and services around the needs of law enforcement, he said. Sheriff and police departments pay from $100,000 to upward of $1 million a year or more for Hemisphere access. Harris County, Texas, home to Houston, made its inaugural payment to AT&T, $77,924 in 2007, according to a contract review by the Daily Beast. 4 years later, the country's Hemisphere bill has increased more than a tenfold of $940,000. Man, talk about getting ripped off, huh? Did you see that movie Field of Dreams? Sagorian it asked that line, if you build it, they will come. Once a company creates a huge surveillance apparatus like this and provides it to law enforcement, then they have to provide it whenever the government asks. They've developed this massive program, and of course they're going to sell it to as as many people as possible. AT&T documents state law enforcement doesn't need a search warrant to use Hemisphere, just an administrative subpoena, which does not require probable cause. The DEA was granted administrative subpoena power in 1970. The Supreme Court ruled in 1979, Smith versus Maryland, that non-content metadata, such as phone records, were like an address written on an envelope, and phone customers had no reasonable expectation that it would be kept private. AT&T stores details for every call, text message, Skype, chat, or other communications that has passed through its infrastructure, retaining many records dating back to 1987, according to the Times 2013 Hemisphere report. The scope and length of the collection has accumulated trillions of records and is believed to be larger than any phone record database collected by the NSA under the Patriot Act, the Times reported. Database allowed its analysts to detect hidden patterns and connections between call details records and make highly accurate inferences about the accusations and the moments of the people Hemisphere is used to surveil. Its database is particularly useful for tracking a subscriber between multiple discarded phone numbers, as when drug dealers use successive prepaid burner phones to evade conventional surveillances. So yeah, I don't blame them. I'll do the same. I do the same thing. But exactly, it's called a hit and run. It's a hit and run. And I know I'll get a little bit slowed down on the computer here. Come on. Cool. So, all right, I'll continue on here. Some Hemisphere operations have regionally appropriate nicknames. Atlanta is Peach, while Hawaii has been called Sunshine. West Allis, Wisconsin City Council minutes do not name the contract at all, referring to it as services needed for an investigative tool used by each of the HIDTA's investigative support centers from AT&T's Government Solutions. In 2014, Cameron County, Texas Judge Carlos Casco ordered a line item in the commission minutes change from Hemisphere program to database and analyst services. Casco is now the Secretary of State of Texas. Hey, that's a great bribe. The Florida Attorney General's Medicaid Fund Fraud Unit received Hemisphere project training in 2013, according to a report on the unit's data mining activities. Florida is one of the 8 states that is allowed to spend federal money on anti-fraud data mining initiatives. Florida Medicaid fraud investigators use such technology to look for suspicious connections between call detail records, such as a provider and a beneficiary with the same phone number or address. A group shareholder represented by Arhana Capital are concerned about the effect of negative press on stock value and filed a proposal in December 2015 to require the company to issue a statement clarifying the company's policies regarding providing information to law enforcement and intelligence agencies, domestically and internationally, above and beyond what is legally required by court order or other legally mandated process. AT&T contests the proposal, and the matter is now before the Securities and Exchange Commission. Wow, this is so intriguing, my friends. Just got sometimes you gotta really observe these areas, but we'll always talk about invading your privacy. Hey, that's one thing is the flaws, these pros and cons of cell phones. I know there's probably cell phones out there that have these non-traceables. That's gonna be if it's legit, that'll be the next hot item. AT&T's been, like I said, AT&T's been like, they've been screwing around, man, and they're just an example. That's why, my friends, certain things, certain technological stuff. Hey, I don't have to like manifest in everything. I'm keeping everything minimal as possible, and it's okay to call them a bunch of scumbags and peeping toms. All right, but they could hear that. That's great. Just drive them crazy. Don't feel sorry for them. Well, all right. Well, this next one here came came from activist post, right? Yeah, yeah, activist post, and it's by Alice Salads. It says here, lawsuit filed after marijuana legalization goes missing off Florida ballot. I've been reading on this too, and it's really disturbing, I would say. It says that the media has ridiculed presidential candidate Donald Trump for suggesting the election is rigged. Well, his comments should always be taken with a grain of salt. A case of a missing amendment in the Florida ballot is raising some eyebrows. And the link on that is WSVN, because I know some friends of mine they sent that to me they shared it on the Facebook on the missing amendments. So so you hit that link. But I'm going to proceed on here. And Sally, an Oakland Park resident and former city commissioner who lives in Broward, Florida, says she was shocked to notice her ballot had arrived in the mail without one of the most discussed amendments of the season. After spending a week trying to get the Broward Elections Office to listen, she decided to reach out to the Florida branch of the National Organization of the Reform of Marijuana Laws for help. Amendment 2 should legalize the use of medical marijuana in the Sunshine State, allowing individuals with specific debilitating diseases or comparable debilitating conditions as determined by a licensed state physician to have access to cannabis. But Amendment 2 was nowhere to be found on the ballot sent to Sally. According to Normal's attorney, Norm Kent, the removal of the initiative from Sally's ballots may have been deliberate, and if enough ballots are sent without the initiative, voters won't be able to check yes or no on the amendment. It's like when you go to a restaurant, Ken said, something's not on the menu if you don't order it. In order to get to the bottom of the story, Kent is filing a lawsuit on behalf of Normal and Sally, hoping to have the issue addressed before Election Day. We need a judge to act expeditiously and promptly to effectuate a ruling that protects the rights of voters in Broward County, Kent told reporters. After all, he said, if at least one ballot was sent without an Amendment 2, there are many others being sent out to Florida voters. We have to find out whatever there's 100 ballots, 1,000 ballots, or 10,000 ballots, Kent added. According to the Sun Sentinel, the Broward County Supervisor of Elections, Dr. Brenda Snipes, told a reporter that when you're dealing with much paper and this many people, we may have made a mistake. But I haven't heard a lot of people saying I don't have Amendment 2 in my ballot either. She added that the faulty ballots may have been printed as test samples for Oakland Park, claiming that a local candidate dropped out. Snipes' office recoded the Oakland Park ballot, creating a new test ballot. Only 7 of these ballots were allegedly produced. Snipes told reporters, but the office didn't catch on to the error until later. According to Kent, the lawsuit might force Snipes to go before a judge and document every single ballot she has printed. Through the lawsuit was just filed, Kent is urging all local voters using the mail-in ballot system to check whether Amendment 2 is missing. And I'm not down there yet, but I'm in the Fort Lauderdale district, and it's fun because on the sampler, I looked at the sampler from one of my precinct, and it has Amendment 2 on there. I'm just I'm just curious that how many others, how many if I'm gonna get the actual ballot is gonna have that. So yeah, that's not good. So I'm gonna definitely make a copy of this because this is totally irrelevant. And it says here, yeah, number two, constitutional amendment, Article 10, Section 29, use of marijuana for debilitating medical conditions. So it's in three languages: English, Spanish, and Creole. And I'm supporting it regardless, but that is not good because if it happens in Oakland Park, okay, how many others in Broward County have this effect, or how about how about other counties have the same issue? This is not right. It is inappropriate. And as far as I'm concerned, if that's the case, her and her staff may be held heavily accountable because that violating your right to vote. And it's not really pleasant. Okay, make sure you get all your act together because it's a serious issue. All right, hey, just let you folks know down there in Broward, you got one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 senators to choose from, and 4 of them are nonpartisan. I just to throw it in there. Well, it is not very unacceptable, and she should be held accounted for it. Don't make a mistake like that because you violated the people's right to vote, and that is a removal from office. And let me see here. If she made that mistake, county clerk, she's running unopposed. Let's see if Brenda Snipes' name's on here. If so, I tell everyone this: vote her ass out if it's in there or not. And I don't think so, but that is not good at all. Man, not impressive. Not impressed at all. So, oh, Brenda Snipes. It's funny. Brenda Snipes. She's voted unopposed. She's running unopposed. I say, hey, put your names on there. Well, I'm not going to vote for her for that mistake. That's disgusting. Fair and fair. But I'm gonna add this my ballot sample to the um to the footnotes. Okay. So next one here came from City Pages. It came out yesterday. It says here, Hepburn County dispatches deputies equipped to quell Standing Rock protests, as by Corey Zerowski. As it says here, as number of protesters opposed to the controversial Dakota Access Pipeline swelled, so did his need for more law enforcement, said the sheriff. We have basically tapped the resources to a level that were never seen here in North Dakota for one particular incident, he said at a press conference on October 6th. Kirchmeyer's professional brethren heeded the call. Lamar County Sheriff, this is in Wyoming, Sheriff Danny Glick, president of the 15-state Western States Sheriff Association and past president of the National Sheriff Association, immediately pledged the group's support. On any given day in recent months, an estimated 3,000 opponents camped on federal-owned land in southern Morton County. They've attempted to enter the pipeline construction area. Other tactics have included standing in traffic. In order to contain the protests, dozens of law enforcement agencies from various states have dispatched manpower and resources. In past clashes, and protesters have faced attack dogs and mace. Opponents contend the pipeline could pollute the tribe's water supply and threatens ancestral burial grounds. Count Hennepin County among the Sheriff's Department on the ground. Over the weekend, as 83 protesters were arrested on charges ranging from rioting to criminal trespass. Photographs Photographer Donna Brown snapped shots of Hennepin County Sheriff vehicles near the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. The photos immediately drew criticism locally. Among those calling for Hennepin County Sheriff Stanek to withdraw was Minneapolis City Council member Eldora Cano, an outspoken critic of the pipeline project. As of Monday afternoon, Cano and 500 others had signed an online petition demanding that Stanek call his deputies home. City pages called Hennepin County Sheriff's Office Tuesday. It responded with a statement which read in part, at the request of the state of North Dakota and it is approved by the state of Minnesota on Sunday, Minnesota's sheriff deputies from the Hennepin, Antigua, and Washington County Sheriff's offices were deployed to assist in Morton County. These Minnesota peace officers will assist and maintain the public safety, preserve the peace, and to protect the constitutional rights of protesters. According to North Dakota Department of Emergency Services spokesperson Celie Fong, Hennepin County Sheriff's expenses incurred that they are being paid by the state of North Dakota. So they have manpower issues. Well, you know what? That's good. And it's interesting because when they say it's federally owned land in southern Morton County, how many square miles does the federal government own that part of Morton County? If it's more than 10 square miles, it's illegal, unconstitutional. And I've talked about this in the past, even with the Bundy cases, okay? Just look up the Constitution and look that area up. You'd be surprised. More people got to start reading this stuff. And like I said in the past, what would happen if they put a pipeline at the family members your family members are buried at? Will you like it? Doesn't matter what you look like. Even if you're a non-Native American, it would be inappropriate. So you have to always examine this a lot broader. And you know what? I want this pipeline to get shut down. It does, because other ways to get oil around the area. We don't need a pipeline. Please. How many more areas are we going to destroy as heritage? Or historical landmarks? It's very disturbing. I see down in Miami with the whole when the whole Tequesta thing, and I see them building garbage on top of it. It's pure sacrilege, man. All right, well, like I say, fight the good fight out there. Okay, next one came from the World Tribune. It says here, U.S. House to vote on extending Iran sanctions in post-election showdown with Obama. Reuters news agency is reporting that Republican leaders in the U.S. House plan to vote after November 8 elections on reauthorizing the Iran Sanctions Act. Oh, so you want to go to so it's an act of war, I call it, setting up a potential showdown with the White House. The law, which authorized sanctions over Iran's nuclear program and ballistic missiles test, expires on December 31st. Representative Ed Royce, chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, is expected to introduce a clean 10-year renewal, which aides said was likely to pass the House. Its fate, if the Senate is uncertain, however, it may be opposed by the White House. The Obama administration has asked Congress to hold off on renewing the law, saying it has enough power, even if it expires, to reimpose economic sanctions on Iran if Tehran violates its nuclear agreement with world powers. The President and the Treasury Department retain significant sanctions authority that already has been used to impose costs on Iran for the flagrant violation of their international obligations, White House spokesman Josh Earnest said on October 25th. Yes, another platform for an act of war. All hail to the empire. And Barry Soetoro goes, look at more drones out there. His infamous pathetic teleprompter. Hopefully it won't be the case. It's more garbage as usual. They're doing the same thing with Russia. It's like, look, you believe if we go to war with these nations, you believe that we should all just go to, yes, we will serve your imperial cause. You know what I say? Guys like Ed Royce, you go on the front line. Let's see how tough you are with your goofy hair and dorky glasses and your flags, the flags behind you with the golden ridges around it. Go bend over the banksters on your watch, not mine. All right. Finally, This one came from Judicial Watch. And it says here, Clinton State Department IT official John Bentel takes the Fifth Amendment during Judicial Watch deposition. Came out a couple of days ago, if I'm correct, right? Yeah. It says here, Judicial Watch announced today that another witness in the Clinton email matter asserts his Fifth Amendment rights during a Judicial Watch deposition. The deposition of Josh Bentel, the State Department's former Director of Information Resource Management and Secretary and of the Executive Secretary, was ordered by the U.S. District Judge Emmett G. Sullivan, S/ES-IRM, is the office that handles information technology for the Office of Secretary. Mr. Bento answered over 90 questions on advice from my legal counsel. I decline to answer the question. I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights. Mr. Bento, on advice of Obama Justice Department and personal counsel, refused to answer any question about whether Hillary Clinton was paying his legal fees, order him employment or other financial incentives. There were 3 government attorneys and 2 personal attorneys present for the deposition. On August 19, 2016, Judge Sullivan granted Judicial Watch's request to depose Bento, citing significant discrepancies in Bento's previous statement on the Clinton non-state.gov email system. The court is persuaded that Mr. Bento should be deposed because the record in this case appears to contradict his sworn testimony before the House-selected Benghazi Committee. Specifically, Mr. Bento testified that he was not aware that Secretary Clinton's email account was housed on a private server until the media reports in 2015. However, several emails indicate Mr. Bento knew about the private server as early as 2009. In ordering Mr. Bento's deposition, Judge Sullivan also cited a May 2016 Inspector General's report that found Mr. Bento told employees in his office that Secretary Clinton's email arrangement has been approved by the State Department's legal staff and also instructed his subordinates not to discuss the Secretary's email again. In one meeting, one staff member raised concerns that information sent and received on Secretary Clinton's account could contain federal records that needed to be preserved in order to satisfy federal record-keeping requirements. According to the staff member, the director stated that the Secretary's personal system has been reviewed and approved by department legal staff and the matter was not to be discussed any further. According to the other SE/ES-IRM staff member who raised concerns about the server, the director stated that the mission of the S/ES-IRM is to support the Secretary and instructed the staff never to speak of the Secretary's personal email system again. Judicial Watch deposed 7 former Clinton top aides and current State Department officials, including top Clinton aide Cheryl Mills and Huma Abedin. Judicial Watch has deposed IT official Brian Pagliano, who asserted his Fifth Amendment right not to testify during the Judicial Watch deposition. And Clinton last week answered Judicial Watch's question under oath regarding her non-government email system. The depositions come in connection with the Judicial Watch Freedom of Information Act that seeks records about the controversial employment status of Huma Abedin, Deputy Chief of Staff to former Secretary Clinton. There's a link for that, Judicial Watch versus the U.S. Department of State. The fact that yet another State Department official took the Fifth highlights the disturbing implication that criminal acts took place related to the Clinton email and our Freedom of Information Act request, stated Judicial Watch Tom Fitton. The full case history of Abedin's employment lawsuit is accessible on the Judicial Watch website. So, and there's a while, yeah. So very interesting there, my friends. Yeah, it's all out here. I'll take you to that site. But man, more It's so insane. A lot more stuff is happening. People wearing no clothes, man. They're all running naked, for goodness sakes. They're just afraid to ask those questions because they know their butts are grass. Well, you know what? I'm excited that this is happening because it is going to backfire. This stuff is backfiring thanks to technology and the information war. These folks cannot run and hide anymore. So you know what? I give Judicial Watch a thumbs up because they are fair. They go after everybody regardless of partisanship. Okay? So support these folks and always observe their information responsibly. Plus share it to everyone you know. All right? Okay, that is all, my friends. Thanks for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share this information throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or send me something that's interesting, whatever you do, please deliver your correspondences with decorum. You can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, and Scene.life. Or you can email me at LokiLuck3, which is Loki Luck with the number 3 altogether at gmail.com. Before we go, I could play a cool little song. It's a local band called DC3, which they had the hyphen 3. There was another band that came out in the 80s called DC3. It was all together. So they did DC / number 3, Derek Citron. And I knew these guys for a while back. They have broken up. They were a fun band. I see them play at a lot of cool little dives and so forth. Derek always he plays his drums standing up. Very talented guy, talented band. A little bit of a ballad called "Keep Me Waiting." So check it out, and I will add that to the footnotes on my Spreaker page as well. Okay, so. Once again, my friends, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.
That I could fly. They said I'd never tame the sky. I said I'd walk upon the moon, and they thought me such a fool. I wanna reach the nearest star, but people say it's way too far. But in my mind, I can touch it. Won't let them keep me waiting. Won't let them keep me waiting. Won't let them keep me waiting. When I broke the speed of sound, I heard dissension all around. Laws of color I defied. On that bus I took my ride. I told the church that they were wrong and made my penance hard and long. All their rules I have broken. Won't let them keep me waiting. I won't let them keep me waiting. I won't let them keep me waiting. Dreams have been a lie. Hit the wall, hurt my hand. My legs grew tired of taking stands. I turned the page, I carried on. I found my spirit lingers on. Gold will shine, though it's rusted.